Welcome students, welcome again to my new lecture. I am Mohammad Tanbir Ahmed, lecturer Department of Civil Engineering, World University of Bangladesh. Outline of the lecture. In our previous lecture, we have discussed the design procedure of least pour flush latrine, and in this lecture, we will perform a design example of least pour flush latrine. Also, we will discuss about septic tank system in this lecture. Design for pits of pour flush least latrines. These are the design steps and formula to design a least pour flush pit latrine, and we have covered this in our previous lecture. Here I have attached these slides again only to get some advantages while designing least pour flush latrine. Here I will discuss the design procedure again only for the students who have missed the previous lecture, and only for the students who will have to get advantages from this lecture. Here, to design a least pour flush latrine, first we need to calculate the infiltration area AI, and we can calculate infiltration area AI using this equation AI equal to Q divided by I. Here Q equal to total wastewater flow, and generally the flow varies between 5 to 20 liter per capita per day. That means this range is for one person. That in simply we can say per day a single person use 5 to 20% water, and so total Q will be how many persons uses this latrine technology into the rate of water needs one person per day. That means if we multiply the quantity of water required per one person per day and the total person, we can easily get this Q, and I equal to rate of infiltration, and this rate of infiltration depends upon the long term soil perk capability, and this is also shown in a table. The value of I will show you here the value of I. This is the table, and this table represents the value of long term infiltration rate I. This depends on soil type. For sandy soil, the value of I will be 50, and similarly for other types of soil, the value of I are represented here. So we can easily calculate AI value using this equation. The second step is we need to calculate the pit volume required for those infiltration area. We can easily calculate pit volume using this equation or this equation. Normally we will use equation number 2 to calculate the pit volume. Here Q equal to total infiltration rate Q that we will obtain from here. D equal to diameter of pit. Generally the pit considered here in this design is circular. If we use square or other pit size, then D will be that size. Say if we use square size and take the length of one side as 1.5 meter, so D will be 1.5 meter, and if we use diameter that means circular pit of the 1.5 meter, then D will be 1.5 meter, and that is the value of I, long term infiltration rate, which I have shown you in previous slide. Then for alternating twin pits, the effective volume of each pit is calculated either this equation 2, that means this equation equation number 2, or Vs equal to C into P into N, this equation, whichever is greater. That means if we design twin pit system, then we need to calculate volume using this equation, Vs equal to Cpn, or using this equation, and the required or design pit volume will be greater of this two one. Which will be greater will be our design or required pit volume. And if we use single pit pore flush latrines, the effective volume will be the sum of these two volume. That means for single pit volume we need to calculate Vs equal to Cpan, and also we need to calculate Vi equal to Qd divided by 4i, and then sum of by adding these two we will get the total volume. And these are the simple design procedure. Let's design a least pore flush latrine. First read the question. Design least pit for a pore flush latrine for a family of 7 members for a design period of 2.5 years. That means we have to design a least pore flush latrine that will used by a family of members 7 persons, and design life will be 2.5 years. The cross section of the pit has to be square. The average wastewater flow rate is 12 liter per person per day. That means Q is 12 liter per person per day. Here the range of Q was 5 to 20 liter per capita per day. From this value, from this range 12 liter per capita per day has fixed in this question. The soil is porous silty loam with long term infiltration rate is 20 liter per meter square per day. Soil is porous silty loam, and from the table of infiltration this value has been fixed. If we go to the table of infiltration for porous loam, porous silty clay loam, infiltration rate is 20, and from this table the value of 20 has been fixed. So if this two value 12 and 20 is not stated in question, don't worry, you will just assume this value from the chart and from the range. Solution given. Family members, that means number of person P equal to 7, here stated in the question. A design period N equal to 2.5 years. Pit cross section will be square as stated in question. Pit cross section to be square. Average wastewater flow rate Q equal to 12 liter per person per day, here stated in this question. Soil type porous silty loam is also stated in the question. So long term infiltration rate I equal to 20 liter per meter square per day. This is also stated in question. So all the values from question I have just summarized here. While we read the design step, we have seen that first step is to calculate the required area for infiltration, that is AI, using this equation. So here we need Q and I. I is stated in the question, and we have summarized the value of I equal to 20 liter per meter square per day. But we need to calculate Q, total wastewater flow. The value of Q here stated is 12 liter per person per day. That means this value is for one person. This for one person. We have to calculate the total Q for 7 person. So if we want to calculate total Q, we need to multiply this 7 with this 12. Here Q equal to number of person P into wastewater flow rate Q equal to 84 liter per day, and I equal to 20 liter per meter square per day. Replacing this value in equation, we have calculated A equal to 4.2 meter square. Now assuming pit width equal to 1.2 meter, as the pit will be square, the width and length will be same, and we have picked that value is 1.2 meter. The maximum width may be 1.5 meter, and this is also the design of a pit latrine. The design consideration will be same as pit latrine, and in our third lecture we have seen the design consideration for simple pit latrine, and in this design consideration there was a statement that pit width may not be greater than 1.5 meter. So we have to choose a width within this 1.5 meter. So here we have chosen 1.2 meter. Then we need to calculate the pit volume Vi using this equation as stated above. Let's see that equation again. That was the equation to determine the pit volume. Vi equal to Qd divided by 4i, and just use this equation to determine the volume Vi here. Here Q equal to 84, D equal to width of the pit 1.2 meter. In case of circular pit, D will be the diameter of the pit, but in other cases D will be width or length of the pit. And must attention here that to design this type of pit, the pit will be only two types, square or circular. And I equal to 20, and replacing all values here in equation, we have calculated Vi equal to 1.26 meter cube. Now we have to calculate pit volume with respect to solid storage. This volume Vi refers to the pit volume to get the sufficient infiltration area Ai. That means this volume covers to get the infiltration area Ai, and now this volume is to store the solid excreta in the pit. And this is the common equation we have used in simple pit latrine. Here C equal to 0.04 meter cube per person per year as stated in 4th lecture, N equal to 2.5 years and P equal to 7 persons given in the question. We can see again P equal to 7 and N equal to 2.5. So using this simple equation we can easily get the volume with respect to solid storage Vs equal to 0.7 meter cube. Now we will design the pit for both two consideration, for single pit and for twin pit option. And for single pit we know that effective pit volume V equal to Vid plus Vs, sum of these two. We can again get the see the design steps. For single pit latrine, effective volume will be Vs plus Vi. So adding or summing these two items, we can calculate effective pit volume equal to 1.96 meter cube, rounding this 2 meter cube. And this is the volume of pit. Now we need to calculate depth of the pit. To calculate depth of the pit, we need to calculate area first. Considering the pit width 1.2 meter as maximum width 1.2 meter, and we have used these values to calculate another steps here. So our pit width equal to 1.2 meter, and effective depth we can calculate effective depth A is equal to V divided by area, and as this is square, so area will be width or length square, and this V is volume and this is area is width square as it is a square pit. And finally A is equal to 1.39 meter, and rounding this we will get 1.5 meter. So we will get a pit having width equal to 1.2 meter and depth 1.5 meter. Now we need to add a clear space or free space with this depth, and design consideration says that clear space or clear width clear depth will be 0.5 meter, and adding this 0.5 meter with this depth, we will get total depth equal to 2 meter. This design is for single pit. That means if we use single pit, our volume will be 2 meter cube, depth will be 2 meter, and width will be 1.2 meter. Now we will see what will be the size of the pit and depth of the pit if we use twin pit latrine. Here case 2, alternating twin pit pour flush latrine. This there will be a correction, not power, this will be pour flush latrine. Here Vi equal to 1.26 meter cube and Vs equal to 0.7 meter cube, as we have calculated in our previous slide. Vi and Vs we can see again. Here this is the Vs 0.7 meter cube, Vs 0.7 meter cube. This is the value of Vi 1.26 meter cube, 1.26 meter cube. And in twin pit system, the design or required pit volume will be the greater of this two one, and the greater of this two value will be the design volume. Hence greater is 1.26 meter cube. So governing volume of pit equal to 1.26 meter cube. Now we need to calculate the depth of the pit. Take width of the pit equal to 1.2 meter as in previous slide. So depth of the pit equal to volume divided by area. Our volume is 1.26 meter cube and area equal to 1.2 is square, as this is square pit. So area will be length or width square. For square pit, A equal to length or width square, because length and width is same. So if pit depth will be 0.875 meter. Now need to add a clear depth of 0.5 meter with this depth, and the total depth stands 1.375, and rounding this we will get 1.5 meter. So if we use twin pit system, our total volume will be 1.26 meter cube, width will be 1.2 meter, and depth will be 1.5 meter. Septic tank. A septic tank is a buried watertight receptacle. That means the position of the septic tank will always be under the soil, and it will be watertight and receive discharge only. It is designed and constructed to receive wastewater from a home, as it is only a receptacle device. Separate the solid wastes from the liquid. It will act as a sedimentation tank and will settle the heavy particle into bottom and thus separate the solids from the liquid. Then provide limited digestion of organic matter. The organic matter will store for some times in the tank and it will digest it aerobically. It stores solids, as the solids will settle down in the bottom. Allow the clarified liquid to discharge for further treatment. The clear liquid stored in the middle part of the tank can be separated for further treatment. Settleable solids for partially decomposed sludge settle to the bottom of the tank and gradually build up, and the scum that is very light in weight will rise at the top of the sedimentation tank. If we see the picture of sedimentation tank, that means figure of sedimentation tank, we can understand easily the parts of these activities. Let's see the figure. And this is the sedimentation tank. Here this is the inlet. The excreta will come into the sedimentation tank through this inlet, and as this tank will act as a sedimentation tank, and the heavier particle that have density greater than 1, that means density greater than water, will settle down in the tank, and this item will be termed as sludge. And the scum, that means the lighter weight particles with the excreta, that will not that means the items whose density is less than 1, they are not capable to settle down and will float in the top of the sedimentation tank, and this item is termed as scum. That means scum is the lighter weight particles that may be sometimes as the form of grease, as said here, as the form of fats and greases rise in the top. That means these items are fats and greases, as sometimes something as oil. The clear space occupied here is the clear water, but we cannot say it as clear. There are many microorganisms and many other pathogens present in this water, and this water can be removed from this sedimentation tank by this outlet for further treatment. And after treating this water, we will need to dispose it into the environment. And that was the total functions of a sedimentation tank. These are also the description of sedimentation tank as I have discussed using the figure. Let's see again. The partially treated effluent is allowed to flow through an outlet structure just below the floating scum. That means the partially treated clear water will discharge or will collect from a outlet. We can see again the diagram. This is the partially treated water, and it can be collect from the outlet for further treatment. Then partially decomposed liquid can be decomposed of through soil absorption system, soil mounds, evaporation beds, or anaerobic filters depending upon the site condition. After collecting this liquid from this outlet and treating, where we will discharge this liquid wastage? We will discharge this liquid wastage in this system, soil absorption system. That means inside the soil, soil mounds, evaporation beds, anaerobic filters depending upon the site condition. Generally in Bangladesh and many developing countries, small bore sewage system are used. Processes in sedimentation tank. No external or internal devices is added or added chemicals are used. That means here in the sedimentation tank, no other chemical is used. Only it is the process of a sedimentation tank. The natural processes that take place within the tank are complex and interact with each other, and it depends upon the size of the tank and also the depth of the tank. Processes in the septic tank. In septic tank, generally these four processes occurs. First, the solid materials separated from the liquid. Here in these two ways, sludge and scum. Then digestion of the slab and scum. This sludge and scum digested with the presence of air in this sedimentation tank. Then stabilization of the liquid. That means partially clear water stabilized in the middle part of this sedimentation tank, and growth of microorganisms, as this is partially treated water and only this is free from solid wastage. So here as the water increases, along with microorganisms also increases, and these are the components or the processes that takes in sedimentation tanks. Performance of a septic tank. Under normal design consideration, the septic tank will reduce the BOD in 25 to 50%, and suspended solid is up to 70%. That is very important. That means a septic tank can reduce suspended solids huge amount. The factors affecting the performance of a septic tank. These are the factors that affect the performance of a septic tank. First one is retention time. The more the time will get for retention of suspended materials, the more will be the efficiency of the tank. ambient temperature. Temperature plays a vital role for digestion of suspended solids. As we know, the more the temperature, the digestion rate will be more. Nature of the influent wastewater is the organic content of the wastewater. If the waste contain high organic load, it will take more time to settle and thus reduces the efficiency of the septic tank. Position of the inlet and outlet devices of the tank. Design of septic tank. The septic tank is designed based on Brazilian septic tank code, and as the tank has generally 4 parts, so we have to design these 4 parts to design a septic tank. These parts are scum storage zone, sedimentation zone, sludge digestion zone, and digester slash storage zone. As in the sedimentation tank, with this inlet, excreta enters into the tank. First, suspended material, suspended particles settle in the bottom of the tank. And then the lightweight particle float in the upper part of the tank. This settleable solids will digested and stored at the bottom of the tank. That means we need to design this 4 stone, and this is scum storage zone for lightweight particle. This is sedimentation zones, that means to store the partially treated clear water. And this is sludge digestion zone. This sludge will settle down from the liquid, and when this sludge will digest it, that means compost it, they will settle in here at the bottom of the tank. Shape and dimension. Tanks with greater surface area are reasonable depth are preferred, since higher surface area increases sludge storage capacity. As we have learned from the course of water supply engineering while designing sedimentation tank, that the efficiency of the tank is dependent on the surface area, not dependent on the depth of the tank. So it is better to greater surface area with reasonable depth while designing the tank. A rectangular long narrow tank is more satisfactory than a square or cylindrical tank. As we know, in rectangular tank we can easily choose the dimension, that means length or width of the tank. A tank with rectangular shape is favored with length 3 times of its width. Then compartmentation, that means the dividation of the tank. If we see the picture of the sedimentation tank, that there is a compartmentation is the means the dividation of the tank. Here this is first compartment and this is second compartment. It is mandatory, we can build or not as our wish, but let's see the design consideration. Compartmentation. A 2-compartment tank is reported to be better than a single compartment tank of equal capacity for the removal of BOD or suspended solids or organic colloids. That means if we prepare or construct a compartment, it is better than a single septic tank.